Well, it's breaking daylight this morning, and I parked where I've been parking at. And this bird, he's changed where he's reaching at. He's roosting right here, even where I've been parking at. So, he's fired up. So I'm gonna get down. He's on the edge of a hardwood holler. I'm gonna get down past him. Go down that hardwood holler. Set up. Y'all do good morning. We got just a couple hours before the wind's gonna pick up real bad. Just see if we can make it happen before it picks up. Alright, so I made it down here. There's a funnel right down here in the bottom of this holler where a creek comes up against a hill. And I marked that the other day where a bunch of turkey tracks been crossing right there. It's thick up here on the hill. It's kind of open in that funnel. It looked like most of them have been traveling right there. So I'm gonna kind of stick close to it. A lot of scratching, a lot of side right there. It's thick on the other side of the creek. So I feel like he's been traveling this holler every morning. I've been on him. But there's one ridge in between me and him now. I bet that thing's gobbled 100 times already. So I'm gonna work my way on down this funnel and get on the edge of it. I get on the edge of it up there. I got my 410 this morning, about to shoot both ways. It gets pretty tight right there. That's where I'm gonna start out at and see what happens. I'm gonna get on down here and get set up before he hits the ground. How about that for a quick hunt? Man, this tree right here killed me. That thing strutted all the way up here. Right here. That tree right there killed me. Little 410. It's a perfect gun for these tight quarters like this. This bird is living in a thicket. This ain't where he's been staying. He's been staying back behind me in open hardwood holler. That's why I figured get him between him and that hardwood holler, he'd go that way. He must have been here yesterday trying to get out of the wind. It is thick. Man, that would have been some good footage. That one tree. I set up for him to come up through here. I set up. He was right there. And that pinch point I'm talking about is right here behind me, where they've been crossing at. I set up for him to come up through here, and he got right behind this big pine tree in front of me, and come straight to me, strutted all the way to me. Well, look at him. I'm using my cell phone to film this because the GoPro quit working. We got him. Little BB gun got another one. That's a good looking bird. Man, thank the Lord for fired up 2-year-olds. This is a bird we've been after a few times now. And I made a loop through here yesterday in the high winds. I know he's been flying down and coming this way. There's a hardwood holler in between thick pines.
SMZ that runs through there. It's pretty wide in places. But the high winds yesterday, I used that to where I felt like I come near not bumping anything. And I worked my way up through here. I stayed in the creek most of the way, just kind of looking. I hadn't been in here in a long time. And I wanted to see how it's laid out for him to be going this way. And I dropped a couple of pins on some pinch points that had a lot of turkey sign. And where these birds was, where the creek was turning real sharp and getting up against the bluff, and those birds was going through there. Because the other side of the creek's real thick. I mean, you can see behind me that mess. I tried to walk through some of it to get down here, and I couldn't do it. I had to go around. So a turkey's not going to walk through that unless he has to. This is a ridge that comes down to this little bottom, and this little bottom where he was about to come through at. You can see it right here. It's 30 yards wide. That's what these birds have been doing. They've been working their way down this bottom, and when these steep, thick ridges come down, they go around the end of it, and then after you get around the end of it, the bottom opens back up, and they just kind of feed their way through. And that's the reason I set up here. That's the reason I walked there yesterday. I wanted to kind of see what it looked like where this bird's been going, and mark me a couple of places to be able to set up at. Man, that's a fun, quick hunt. You never know. I wasn't expecting it to work out that fast. But on the way out, I'm fixing to walk through, because I parked the truck even with him this morning. So on the way out, I'm going to walk through where he was roosted at and just see what it looks like up through there. So next time, if there's ever another bird roosted there, I'll know what it looks like where he's at. And this is a spot here that I'll mark. And I always keep in the back of my head how they travel. If another one ever does this, I got places to set up. That's the big thing about turkey hunting, is a good setup. It's more the setup than it is the calling. You don't have to be a perfect caller as long as you got a perfect setup. I hear some birds gobbling in the distance, so maybe Kyler Grayson this weekend, get them on a bird. But I'm gonna work my way out of here. I'll catch you on the next one. Made it maybe 50 yards from where I killed the bird. Let me show you this. Let me set this bird down. It rained last night, so it may be hard for you to see it. But they're scratching everywhere in leaves. It was hard to see because we had a big rain yesterday afternoon, last night. That's what I've been talking about, is just setting up where these birds feel comfortable at. Setting up in a place to where when you see that bird, he's in shotgun range. I know it's easy to want to set up where you can see 100 yards, 200 yards. You want to see that bird coming in. But a lot of times that bird, when a bird hangs up on you, a lot of times he's got there, he can see, he don't see a hen, so he's not coming no closer. But if you set up to where that bird has to come look, a lot of times he'll come on in and be in gun range and be set up somewhere where he feels comfortable at. I started set up on this ridge right here, but I knew as thick as it was, more than likely that bird wasn't coming through there. And I knew how this bird had been traveling up and down this bottom. As you can kind of see, I'm kind of working my way around the end of the ridge where I just killed him. You see how this bottom's opening on up. That's what it does. That ridge comes down, it makes a pinch point. On each side of it is open. Those birds have been coming around the ends and pinch points as they're traveling up and down this bottom during the day. The last couple of days the wind's been real high, so the birds have been staying tight down in the bottom. That's kind of a little tip. It's all about the setup. Sun peeping through the trees. I'm gonna work my way on out here and see what else I can see. I like scouting just as much as I like hunting them. And even though I just killed one, I'm scouting for the next one. Alright, I made it down here where this bird was roosted at. There's a shelf right here behind me. See if you can see them. There's some bigger pine trees right there. It's bigger than the rest of the pines in this bottom. And that's where that bird was roosted at right there. He flew down on that shelf. And then I was back here. You can kind of see how this thick strip, it comes down. And that's the creek right there, where it kind of gets tight against the creek. And what it does is this ridge comes down like it does and hits that creek, and then it opens on up on down the bottom like it is here. It's pretty open here. It's the same way the other way. A ridge will come down, and then at the end of the ridge it'll be a pretty open bottom, and then it's like that for a few hundred yards, and another ridge comes down. And these birds, they're just working their way around the ridges, but they're not going through that stuff. I mean, that's nothing but a jungle. And a pretty place to set up would have been here. I don't like setting up in places like that, just because you can see so far, and that bird can see so far too. So if you call to him, he can sit down here and look, especially if you get on his level. He can get down, he can look and see all through there. And he can stand here and strut and gobble, and he don't see a hen, a lot of times he ain't coming. Because these birds get a lot of pressure where we hunt. I know this bird, a buddy of mine missed this bird about a week ago. I feel like it's the same bird. It's been roosted in the same spot where he missed it. Except this morning, he was roosted a few hundred yards away this morning. That's why I like to set up. It's hard to get good footage of them, but a lot of times when you can see them, they're in gun range. It makes the bird have to come look to find you. And knowing the layout, it really helps a lot. It's all about that setup.